In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a super simple, super awesome looking fantasy map. Like, as simple and as awesome looking as possible. Let's go. Alright, so there's two things that led me to want to make this video. The first is I got this pack of Papermate Flare felt tip pens, 16 different colors, and I wanted to make a map using a bunch of different colors with these very readily accessible tools. The second thing is my players in the game that I'm running, my Port Vela campaign, recently got themselves into a little bit of trouble, and they are looking for a place to lay low, but also want to build a sort of home base. So the map I'm going to be drawing is the sort of area around where they're going to be building their treehouse headquarters. So the other thing I want to say is that this process is meant to be super simple. I want this video to empower you, even if you feel like you can't draw. Give making maps a shot, because this doesn't take a ton of skill, but creates something that I think is totally awesome. Like, I can't wait to show this map to my players, to have them get excited about their new home base. I hope that you give drawing maps a shot, because it's so much fun. Alright, let's start talking about the process. So I started by playing with these pens in my sketchbook just to figure out how I want to draw the trees and the rocks and the road and the river. And then once I got that all figured out, I made a key for my map. So I always do this. It is basically a way to help me feel more confident going into the actual drawing of the map. So by using a separate sheet of paper and drawing the trees and the road and having that stuff figured out, then when you jump into the actual map, you'll be able to just place the objects in. It adds a little bit of extra time to the process, but in the end, it helps me feel much more confident, and I can just jump straight into the actual map making and not have to worry about how am I going to draw this tree or how am I going to draw the roads, because I've already figured that out. So like I said, I am using these Papermate Flare 0.7 millimeter medium point marker pen. And just a plain white sheet of printer paper. Nothing fancy here. And honestly, just because I'm using these pens, you know, you can use whatever sort of tool you want. You could totally make this map with just a black pen, just black and white. I'm having fun with some of the colors because I got this new pack, but really use whatever kind of pen you want. So I started by ruling out a border. I wanted to have this sort of kind of checkerboard border, because there's not going to be a grid on this map, just as a way to help indicate some form of distance. I don't know exactly what each of these blocks is going to measure. Maybe it's 1/4 of a mile or something like that. This map is going to be very representational, so it's not meant to be a super accurate map of this area with every tree exactly indicated and exact spacing between the road and the stream, and it's really just to give an idea of the basic landmarks of the area so my players and I can talk about where they want certain things to be. If they need to cut down trees for a little farm or stables area, or they want to build something on the north side or the south side of the stream, that sort of thing. Alright, so let's talk about why this process is so easy and why anybody, absolutely anybody, can make a map like this. The actual drawing of the pieces and parts are super basic. So the road is 2 lines with dots in the middle. A stream is 5 lines. The trees are just triangles with horizontal lines or dots in the middle. Just a little line tree trunk sticking out. And then the rocky areas are just little semicircles with a couple more dots placed around. And that's all there is to it. So if you can draw lines, dots, triangles, and semicircles, then you can make this map. Oh, and I forgot to say the grass is little like hatch marks and little clumps of circles to indicate some wildflowers or something like that. So yeah, once you have the elements of your map figured out, and maybe for your map you want to do something different. So this is a sort of pine forest, but maybe you want different kinds of trees. So instead of being triangle shaped trees, there's circular shaped trees. Or maybe you want to draw some more mountainous areas or swampy type areas or desert type areas or different type of water. You can just use simple shapes to indicate these things and get the same effect. So I want to encourage you, just plan it out a little bit beforehand. Make your key with the elements you want to have on your map, because it'll really help. Not only does it help you figure out how to draw the elements, it also forces you to think about what type of terrain and what kind of important places you're going to need to put on your map. So the map I'm making is super simple. There is a road that goes to the southeast. There is a stream that kind of cuts through this area. There's a little field with a big giant tree in it where they might build their tree house. And there is a spider-infested cave. So, a little bit of backstory. My players recently acquired a very important magical item, sort of a main piece of an artifact that is central to this whole campaign, and they want to have a secure place to hide it. So they talked to a contact they had in the Farmers Guild called the Bounty. He gave them some options of places that they might be interested in. So there's a shop on the inside of town, a shop on the outside of town, an abandoned mill and farm area, a warehouse, and then this piece of land, which is a couple hours outside of the city, that he said it would give to them for 1 copper piece if they cleared out an Ettercap layer. And an Ettercap is like this spider dude. He's kind of like a monster that takes care of giant spiders. So they liked the sound of that, a more remote place that they could get super cheap and build whatever they wanted on. And it also appealed to them because they got into some trouble with the merchant guild called the Plexus. They were thrown into jail, figured out this crazy escape. They used an invisibility spell and Pass Without a Trace to escape from the Plexus compound, and now they really need to lay low. So going to this place out of town where they can spend some time building up their headquarters, keeping things under the radar is just what they're looking for. So yeah, in our last session, they came to scope out their newly purchased piece of property and to get rid of this Ettercap layer, which is this cave filled with spider webs in the southern part of this area. So in the next video, I'm going to draw the Ettercap layer, and I'll probably have a little download link to make that available for free. Just a nice little cavernous spider-infested map for you to use. If that's something you're interested in, definitely subscribe and click the notification bell to be alerted when that video goes up. So yeah, that is the story of what is going on in this map. It's nothing that crazy. It does tell me everything I need to know about what locations are going to be on this map. Okay, so the drawing, I'm just jumping straight in with the pins on this one. Usually, if you've watched a lot of my other videos, you'll know that I typically start with pencil and plan everything out. I'm kind of a meticulous planner, but because this is a simpler map and I do feel so confident in the actual drawing part because the shapes are so simple and I figured everything out in the key beforehand, I'm just jumping straight in. I will say that it is important to kind of place your major landmarks in first. So, I drew the road and then the stream. There's a sort of pathway, the cave, and the big tree. Drew all that stuff in first, and then you can go back and fill everything in with the less important, or I guess less representational elements. With all these trees, I'm just kind of trying to indicate that there is a pine forest in the area, and all the little semicircles are just meant to show that, this is where the area starts to get more rocky and less forested. I guess the other tip I would say is that drawing the bigger stuff first. So starting with the trees and the rocks, and then moving to the smaller stuff, the grass, the little underbrush elements inside the trees, and the dots around the rocks and stuff. Basically, the bigger stuff goes in first, and then because I haven't planned this all out in pencil, the little stuff can just go in to sort of fill in any spaces that are looking kind of empty. So the last thing I want to say is I'm drawing a very specific location. It's this area of the world that my players had actually purchased in the game, but you totally could zoom out and make a more detailed, bigger region of the world, or even complete world map with this method. Again, I would just encourage you to make a key first with all of your elements, then you can go crazy and blow it up to whatever sort of scale you need to show your players the area of the world that you're trying to show off. I just want to say again how awesome and gratifying it is to make something yourself and then be able to show it to your players in your game. Not just because it will become a helpful resource for your game, but also showing your friends and players that you're putting effort into the game goes a long way to get them excited and feeling invested in the game as well. So obviously I haven't showed my players this map yet, but I know that when I show it to them, they're gonna get excited and start thinking of cool ideas on what sort of things they want to build on this land and how to make it their own. And that is where D&D and tabletop role-playing games come alive and the magic happens. I can create something to show to them to get their imaginations going. That is the best feeling ever. And alright, there it is. Super simple, super fun, colorful looking map complete. Yes. I can't wait to share it with my players and see what kind of craziness they come up with what they're gonna build and how they're gonna use this land to cause more trouble in my campaign. So yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments below. I really want to encourage you to give this a try. Just play around with some basic shapes, make cool looking maps, and if you do, please post it on social media, tag me in it. I love seeing what you all create. It really inspires me and gets me excited to keep making these videos. Like I said, the next video will be all about creating this Ettercap layer, this cavernous spider dungeon. Also, super quick, if you'd like to support this channel, check out my shop. It is linked below. I have these Dungeon Master and Wizard pins in the shop, as well as a bunch of other fun stickers and comics and stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate you checking out these videos, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!